Michael, can I ask you something? Have you ever felt like you were studying English for weeks, maybe even months, and it seemed like you weren't improving at all?
Oh, absolutely. That feeling is so frustrating. You're doing everything right, and it still feels like you're stuck in the exact same place.
Right? And that's when a lot of people just give up. They think, maybe I'm just not good at languages.
But that's almost never true. It's usually not about ability. It's about motivation, and motivation naturally goes up and down.
Welcome back to Native English Skills. I'm Emily.
And I'm Michael. Today we're talking about something every single English learner deals with at some point: how to stay motivated when progress feels slow or when it feels like it's stopped completely.
If you've ever felt discouraged about your English or wondered if you should just quit, stick with us. This one's for you.
So, Emily, let's start with something specific. There's this thing language learners call a plateau. Can you explain what that actually means?
Sure. A plateau is basically a flat period. Imagine you're climbing a mountain and suddenly the path becomes completely flat for a while. You're still walking, still putting in effort, but you don't feel like you're going up anymore.
So with English, that might feel like I've been studying for 6 months, but I still make the same mistakes.
Exactly. And here's the tricky part. A plateau doesn't mean you've stopped improving. It just means the improvement has become invisible for a while.
Invisible? What do you mean by that?
I mean, it's still happening, just underneath the surface. Your brain is processing grammar patterns, building vocabulary connections, and getting used to sounds. But that kind of progress doesn't always show up in an obvious way day to day.
That actually makes me feel better already, just hearing that.
It should, because so many learners quit right during a plateau, right before things are about to click.
Okay, so why does motivation drop in the first place? Like, what's actually happening? I think there are a few reasons. First, the beginning of learning a language is exciting. Everything is new. Every word feels like a discovery. Right, that beginner's excitement. Exactly. But once you reach intermediate level, the new stuff comes slower. You're not learning hello and thank you anymore. You're learning subtle grammar differences or vocabulary you might only use once a year. And that's less exciting, even if it's actually more useful. Right. Second reason, comparison. A lot of learners compare themselves to native speakers or to other learners who seem more advanced, and that comparison can be really discouraging. So instead of celebrating their own progress, they focus on the distance they still have to go. Exactly. And third, sometimes people just get tired. Learning a language takes energy, and life gets busy. Work, family, other responsibilities. English can start to feel like one more task on a very long list. That's so relatable. It stops feeling like a fun hobby and starts feeling like homework. Michael, you mentioned earlier you felt this with Spanish. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, definitely. So I studied Spanish pretty intensely for the first few months. I was excited, I was making flashcards, watching shows, all of it.
And then what happened?
Around month 4, everything felt like it slowed down. I wasn't learning new words as fast. I still made mistakes with the same grammar rules I'd been practicing for weeks. I actually stopped studying for almost a month because I felt so discouraged.
That's such a common experience.
But here's the interesting part. When I finally went back to it, I realized I understood way more than I thought. Conversations that used to feel impossible suddenly felt manageable. The progress had been happening, I just couldn't see it while I was in the middle of it.
That's such a powerful lesson. Sometimes you can't judge your progress while you're standing right in the middle of it.
Exactly. You need a little distance to actually see how far you've come.
So, Michael, if progress is hard to see day to day, how should learners actually track it?
I think the key is comparing yourself to your past self, not to other people, and not to some perfect version of fluency.
Can you give an example?
Sure, instead of asking, am I fluent yet? Ask, could I have understood this conversation 3 months ago? Or could I have written this sentence a year ago?
So you're measuring distance traveled, not distance remaining.
Exactly, that's such a good way to put it.
Any practical way to actually do this?
One simple method, record yourself speaking English once a month. Just talk about your day for 2 minutes. Don't listen to it right away. Save it and listen back after 3 or 4 months.
Oh, I love that idea. You'll actually hear the difference.
You really will, and it's much more convincing than just trusting a feeling.
Okay, let's teach some useful expressions related to motivation since it's such a big part of today's topic.
Let's do it.
First one, to burn out. It means to become completely exhausted, usually from working too hard for too long. I burned out after studying English every single day for 3 hours.
That's such an important one because burnout is a real risk when people push too hard.
Exactly. Next, to fall off the wagon. It means to stop doing something you had been doing consistently, like a habit. I fell off the wagon with my English practice after my vacation.
I love that expression. It's so visual.
Another one, to get back on track. It's the opposite. It means to return to your routine after a break. After a slow month, I finally got back on track with my studying.
Those two go perfectly together.
Next, small wins. These are little successes that build up over time. Celebrating small wins, like understanding a song without subtitles, keeps you motivated.
I really like that phrase. It reminds you that progress doesn't have to be huge to count.
And one more, to stick with it. It means to continue doing something, even when it's difficult. The learners who succeed are usually the ones who just stick with it.
That might be the most important phrase of the whole episode.
Emily, let's go back to something you mentioned earlier, comparing yourself to others. Why is that so damaging? I think it's because you're comparing your full, honest experience, including your doubts and your slow days, to someone else's highlight reel. You only see their confident moments, not their struggles.
That's so true. Social media especially. You see someone speaking perfect English in a 30-second video, and you don't see the 2 years of practice behind it.
Right, and everyone's starting point is different too. Someone who grew up hearing English in movies has a different starting point than someone learning it completely from scratch as an adult.
So comparison isn't just discouraging, it's also kind of inaccurate. You're not even comparing equal situations.
Exactly. The only fair comparison is you now versus you 6 months ago.
All right, listeners, here's your moment to practice. I want you to think about one thing in English that used to feel really hard for you, but now feels easier.
Maybe it's understanding fast speech, or maybe it's just ordering food in English without stress.
Say it out loud in English right now. I used to struggle with, but now it's easier.
That sentence alone is proof that you're moving forward, even on the days it doesn't feel like it.
Michael, what actually keeps you motivated long-term? Like real, practical habits?
Honestly, I think consistency beats intensity every time. 15 minutes a day is much more powerful than 3 hours once a week.
That's such an important point. It feels less impressive, but it works so much better.
Another habit? Mixing it up. If you only study grammar, you'll get bored. Mix listening, speaking, reading, maybe even watching a show you actually enjoy.
So it stays connected to things you genuinely like.
Exactly. And finally, give yourself permission to have slow weeks. Motivation isn't a straight line. It goes up and down naturally, and that's completely normal.
I think that's the piece people forget the most. They think motivation should always be high, and when it drops, they think something's wrong with them.
Nothing's wrong with you. It's just how motivation works for everyone in every skill.
Do you have a specific example of a slow week you had recently?
Actually, yeah. Last month, I barely touched my Spanish for about 10 days. Work was really busy, and by the evening, I had zero energy left for study.
So what did you do?
Instead of feeling guilty about it, I just picked one tiny thing. I listened to a 5-minute podcast in Spanish while making dinner. That's it. No pressure to understand everything, no notes, nothing formal.
And that was enough to get you going again?
It was, because the goal wasn't to catch up on 10 days of missed studying all at once. The goal was just to not let the gap become a month or 6 months.
That's such a healthy way to handle a break. A lot of people think, I already missed 10 days, what's the point now? And that thought is what actually stops them for good.
Right. One missed week doesn't erase your progress. But the story you tell yourself about that missed week, that can absolutely stop you if you let it.
Michael, I want to bring up something that I think causes a lot of this frustration in the first place. The word fluent. What does that word even mean to you?
Honestly, I think most people picture fluent as speaking perfectly, no mistakes, no accent, understanding absolutely everything instantly. And that picture is kind of a fantasy.
It really is. Even native speakers make grammar mistakes, mishear things, or forget words sometimes.
Exactly. So if your goal is that kind of impossible perfection, of course you'll feel like you're failing, no matter how much progress you actually make.
So maybe the goal should be something different, something more realistic.
I think a better goal is communication. Can you say what you need to say? Can you understand enough to have a real conversation, order food, make a friend, explain a problem at work? That's a much healthier target.
I love that. It shifts the focus from perfection to usefulness.
And here's the thing. Once you stop chasing perfection, English actually becomes more enjoyable. You start noticing what you can do instead of only what you can't.
That's such an important mindset shift for anyone feeling stuck right now. So, Michael, if you had to summarize today's episode in one sentence, what would it be?
Progress in English is happening even when you can't see it, and the learners who succeed are simply the ones who keep going through the slow parts.
That's such a great way to put it.
So here's your challenge this week. Record yourself speaking English for 2 minutes and save it. Come back to it in a few months and really listen to how far you've come.
And be patient with yourself. Every fluent speaker you admire had a slow, invisible period just like the one you might be in right now.
Tell us in the comments, what's kept you motivated during your English journey, even on the hard days?
We'd love to hear your story.
If this episode helped you, please like the video and subscribe to Native English Skills for more real, honest conversations like this one.
We upload new episodes every week to help you build confidence and consistency with your English.
Thank you so much for listening today.
Keep practicing, keep speaking, and remember, slow progress is still progress.
See you in the next episode.